All right, so let's put it back where we left off, which was the scales, yes? How many hours do we have in a week? 168. Everyone has the exact same amount of time, but what I wanted you to start thinking about was that we have three areas in our life. See, if a person spends 168 hours a week just working, minus sleep, and just working, what do you think would happen to them?
Die.
Yeah.
Die.
Like at some point you'd crash, you'd get sick. I mean, it could be that serious where something really bad happens, but you can't work, let's say 17 hours a day, 7 days a week forever. What would happen eventually?
Get burned out.
Physically you'd burn out, or mentally you would, period, right? So we know we can't do that. Now, you can't just be with family 17 hours a day and sleep 7, because you got to bring an income in, or you even need a break from family sometimes, yes? And you can't just, not work and not have a family and all that stuff. So you got a mixture of business life, family life, and personal life. You have a mixture of all three areas every day. The hours adjust. But we have to start thinking about what's our main objective for our business life? What's the main objective for our family life? What's the main objective for our, which one's left? What did I say? Personal, right? Okay, so you have a page in your manual, looks like this. And we're just going to work through this together. I think you need to go back one page, Peter. So you're on the same page as us there. All right. And as soon as you have that page out, just put up your hand. I think, looks like you're all on the same, yeah, you're all on the great page. Okay, this is a good exercise. The next one's a lot harder. But this one shouldn't be too hard as I guide you through this. Fair enough? So what we want to do is we want to look at it and say, okay, in our business life, in our family life, in our personal life, what's our main objective? What do you think is your main objective for your business life? What's the number one thing you're trying to accomplish?
Make money.
Make money. Make money, okay? But how long would you keep working at something, even if it paid good, if you hated it? Honestly, how long would you do it?
Not
Like
very
some
long.
people have no choice. I've seen people that are tradesmen and just don't like the trade, but they just can't think of anything else to do, and they just keep doing it. So people will say, "Do you like your job?" "No, I hate it. Wish I could do something else." So, you guys are actually in a profession that you can love if you do it right. So that's what we're trying to get at here. Is our main objective is to make a what?
Good living.
Good living and
Love what I do.
love what you do. If you're in real estate and you're not making any money, you're not going to love it. Also, if you do make good money, but you don't have any clients that are treating you good, or maybe it's because of something you're doing that's causing this, you're not going to like real estate either, because this is not enjoyable. Isn't that true? I can show you, and I have for 8 weeks now, showing you how you can really enjoy this profession. How to work with buyers, how to work with sellers, how to do your own management, how to prospect, right? So what do you think would be your highest objective for your family life? What are you trying to do for your kids and your spouse, right? Let's see what I have here. We have to love and support your family any way you can. So would you prospect for your family? Would you go on listing appointments for your family? Would you work with buyers and do showings for your family? Would you negotiate offers for your family? And maybe I'm talking at first family meaning your wife and your kids, or your husband and your kids. Typically that's where you're trying to, bring an income in for, yes? Or maybe your pets, or your future family. Or maybe you're taking care of somebody that's like your mom or dad, or a relative. But you love and support your family any way you can, yes? What's your main objective for your personal life? What is your main objective? Do you want to be unhappy with yourself about how you carry yourself, or you want to be happy about that, yes? You want to be at peace with yourself, let's say? Not have stress, worry about always second guessing yourself and worrying about what you did last time? And like what you see in the mirror, yes? That's why, I don't know, like I said, sometimes saying less is better for a number of reasons. In sales, if you get them to talk and you don't say much, you'll get more sales. But another reason not to talk too much is, sometimes you slip up and you say something, you talk yourself right out of a listing, or in the family life, maybe there's some things that you said that you regret, or in your personal life or something, or even how you treat yourself, right? So, take it easy a bit. Try to make things simpler for yourself. Less is better for everything, yes? Okay, so what would be your highest priority in your business life to make a good living and love what you do? What's your highest priority in this real estate business?
Get listings.
Yeah, you hit it. Build inventory. Absolutely. Getting a listing is the way to the top. If you don't list, you won't last. The next best thing is a buyer agreement, which is still kind of building inventory. But I still think if you can get a listing, buyers will just fall in your lap. You'd be surprised how much control you have over your career. What's your highest priority for your family life, to love and support? What's important to them? Or any way you can. What's your highest priority?
Spend time with them.
Spend time with them, yeah. And what kind of time? It's to care
Quality.
about what family cares about. So your 8-year-old son that plays hockey, he knows dad. He doesn't relate to how dad, let's say, is out making money. He knows he is, but he doesn't really, what he really wants is dad to be at his hockey game, on his phone, walking back and forth, putting a deal together, yes?
No.
Is that what he wants? No, he wants dad at the hockey game, without his phone, doing what? Watching his every move. Because when he scores a goal, the first place that kid looks is where?
Yeah.
Straight at dad, to see if he saw it, instead of him looking and his dad's got his back towards him on his phone. That is just sad, isn't it?
Yes.
Think about that. Okay? Dad or mom, what are some activities kids like to do or your spouse likes to do that are important to them that you may not feel are that important because you're always have your mindset on business for some reason. It seems to just go there. In this business, it goes there a lot, yes?
Yeah.
And it's a real shame because you can actually make more money when you can separate the three. It's counterproductive when you're thinking of work and your family time and when you're thinking of work and your personal time. It actually is holding you back. And like I said, the pessimists can't even relate to that. Didn't I say that earlier? There'll be stuff I'll be teaching. The pessimists will totally disagree with it or totally not understand it. And a true entrepreneur will go, that's right. I mean, if there's any area that you should be pulling hours from to put into the other, is take away from business time and put it to family. This can be a little bit of a tender lesson this morning for a few people. I've seen some people put their head down and go, holy cow, I really got to change some things. What would be your highest priority in your personal life so you can be at peace with yourself and like what you see in the mirror? What do you think? There's some activities you could do to help you not think of work. Maybe that's what it is, right? So you need to enjoy your time off work, yes?
Yes.
But to enjoy your time off work, you shouldn't be thinking of work. 'Cause if you're thinking of work, you're still working. That's my thinking. If I'm thinking of work, what did I say to you before? If I said to you work 5 days a week, did I say 5 8-hour days
No.
to count it? I said, you could go to work for 1 hour and focus on something, keep a deal together, remove some conditions. You could be done the rest of the day, but I'd still count it as a day worked because of the production you did or the activity you did, right? The rest of the day, if you didn't think of work, I'd say, great, you only worked 1 hour. But if you had a day off where all day you're thinking of work, but you didn't actually go to the office, you didn't deal with anybody, but you're thinking about it, to me, you worked that day because you were thinking about it, to me. Because I know that you should not be thinking of work when you have your downtime. So what I want to do is I want to come up with, and I'll just kind of say, what are some activities we can do to build inventory in real estate, and you can throw out some answers, and I'll give you some as well. So between the 10, 12, 14, 12 of us, I guess, let's see if we can come up with some ways to build inventory. Give me one.
Prospects.
Doing what though?
Door knocking.
Hey, door knocking. There's a good one. You can write that one down. Right? Could that help you build inventory?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, book appointments.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's just simplify it. I taught all this, so when it comes to what do I do in business, you guys don't even have to think about it. You already paid for it, I gave it to you. You may recall in lesson 2 and 3, I said there were two what? Methods of prospecting? 2 methods of generating leads, I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Or 2 ways, excuse me. 2 ways to generate leads. Or 2 ways to get leads. Proactive and
Reactive.
reactive. And in proactive, there were how many ways?
5.
5. And what was one of them? It was door knocking, but that wasn't in the right order. Do you remember what the first thing was? And Amy talked about it as her star story this morning.
Community
Community involvement. What was the second thing?
Sphere of influence?
I think it was door knocking. And what was the third thing? Anybody remember from lesson 2? No?
Sphere. Your sphere.
No, that was the last one, but it's there too, yeah. To contact your sphere of contacts, you know? And then there was open houses, yeah. So 1 was community involvement, 2 was door knocking, 3 was open houses, 4 was FSBOs and expireds, and 5 was to warm call your sphere of contacts and contact neighbor to listings, neighbor to sales with door knocking or calling if you can get proper phone numbers, like with the telelisting tool. But if you want to get your phone to ring more, instead of having to be proactive all the time, you could set out some marketing and see how people are reacting to it. That's reactive marketing, yes? And there were 6 ways to do that. 6. What were the, do you remember what the first one was? Advertise all your listings with your listing checklist. What was number 2? It was part of 1, which was target marketing. Number 3 was work a geofarm area. This is all marketing. This isn't go door knocking. That was the previous one. So how do you get in touch with people in a geofarm area?
Postcards.
Postcards, yeah, consistently. Then we had past client newsletters. Then we have a website where you're marketing it online as well for getting leads, and input forms are in there. And finally, social media. So you had 11 ways. You only had to put in 5. But that's what it was, wasn't it? The 2 methods in 11 ways that we mentioned. So you don't even have to try to reinvent the wheel. I could just say, how do you build inventory? 2 and 11, you know, blah, 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 blah. You got them all. It's easy. Now it gets hard for you because now I got to say to you, you know, what are some activities that are important to your family that you are doing or should be doing? Now, if you're not married and you're single, you might have, you know, a mom or a dad or a brother and sister or cousins and nieces and nephews and stuff like that. So just kind of open up your mind to some activities that if you were going to do some for some of the other people in your family, what would they like to do that maybe you might consider doing? So any ideas? Give me an idea of one activity.
Dinner.
Dinner?
Dinner, yeah, that's possible.
Playing games.
Playing some games, that's a good one too. Any other ideas?
Taking them out to family events.
Take them to a family event, go watch their hockey game.
Vacations.
So there's a few from the classes, there's probably 20 different ones you could have come up with, but here's some of the ones from previous students. Camping, it seems to be important for a lot of younger families, kids just love it. You know, you go into Banff, and wow, it's crazy how awesome it is there. How many of you have been to Banff? Hung out there a bit, yeah. Or the Okanagan, anybody been there? That's, I can't say it's more beautiful because it's a different beauty. They're both just as beautiful, but they're totally different. You know? How many of you have been to Vancouver? Yeah. How many of you have been to San Francisco? Or San Diego, or Mexico, or what about, who's been to the Mediterranean, like to the southern part of France or Italy? Right? Yeah. Crazy, hey? Some of the places on this planet. So anyways, camping I was just talking about and that got me going. So movie night might be something. You should do a movie night, if you don't mind watching movies, obviously. I mean, some people don't watch TV, don't watch movies, I get that. Some people, but a movie is a great, I remember I was sharing an office with a top producer almost 30 years ago. And I was doing pretty good, but he was doing twice what I was doing. And we're in the office, we were sharing an assistant. Our office was about as big as, maybe not quite as big as this room, but it was pretty big. And it was around 12 o'clock one day, and I'm doing my stuff, he's doing his. He turns and looks at me, he goes, "Hey, you want to go to a movie?" I went, "Now?" He goes, "Yeah, it's Tuesday at 12 o'clock. I go, "Okay." So I just pulled it up, and we went to West Edmonton Mall, Silver City, whatever it's called there, and watched a movie. And I'm sitting there, it was about 2 o'clock, and I'm eating popcorn and chocolate, and I'm looking around, I'm thinking, it's the middle of the day. I mean, what a business. I could just go, and I was busy selling all kinds of stuff, but I thought this was kind of nice. Kind of just spur of the moment, broke it up, But in family, that was a business thing, by the way, that's what I would call it. But movie night with family, what's another one maybe? I'm a boxing coach, my daughter's a Canadian champion, so I was involved with boxing a lot. Yours would just be insert there whatever sport your kids do, like my son did a lot of hockey, my granddaughter does ballet, so you know, whatever is important to your kids for you to be there to watch them is what that kind of represents. Church, if you do that, and then date night is a good one too. So by coaching clients, you'll see that while we are going through our 30-minute Zoom meeting, we have a form that comes up, and it has these 3 areas. And before we end, I'll ask them, what's your highest priority this week for your business life? And most of them will say, I got to book a couple listing appointments. Or they may say something to that effect. And I'll say, what do you want to do with family this week? And a lot of them will say, you'll hear them say, oh, I'm going to do date night. Great. And then personal will be some of the stuff that comes up next. But when we pick up next week, you know, some of them call me during the week and we still fit in some of their Zoom meetings once in a while, but every week for sure, we bring up this form again. And I'll say, so, last week you committed to this, how did it go? Accountability not only helps people make a lot of money, but this kind of stuff helps you to build your relationships and also helps you to take care of yourself. So it's really important, all right? So give me some activities you can do by yourself that when you are doing them, you're not thinking of work. Give me one.
Gym?
To the gym. And that's about a 50-50 thing. You know how it is. I have to literally put music on and loud and almost be singing type thing to not think of work. Because if it's just quiet, I think of work. Maybe some of you can get away with it all the time, but I have to have something going on. Or a workout partner or music. If it's too quiet, I start thinking of work for some reason. Give me another activity.
Boxing for sure.
Boxing, yeah, boxing for sure.
Like intense
Training?
workout.
Yeah. Huh? What did you say?
Huh?
No, he said something, then I heard you said
So
something.
yeah, like if you're doing an intense workout, there's no way you can think of work.
Yeah, you can if it's intense.
Yeah.
If you're doing supersets at the gym, but boxing is a good example, you know. If you're sparring, you're not gonna think of work, because if you do, you're getting a punch in the nose. Sleeping, sometimes, but it is in there. Sleeping, if you gotta watch the last thing you were thinking before you went to bed. That's all I can say. And if all of a sudden, if you ever had it, like what kind of boss do you really have? Think about it. What kind of boss do we have? Who's your boss?
Me.
You're your own boss, yes? Independent. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but right now there's a possibility you're working for the worst boss you've ever had in your life. Because this boss will make you think of work when you're sleeping even. This boss will make you wake up and write stuff down. This boss will make you miss dinners with your family. And this boss, if any other boss treated you the way you treat yourself, you would have quit like this. It's true. And that's what's a real shame, is there's people that are treating themselves worse than they would treat an employee. It's crazy. So the activities we're saying here, you want to do so you're not thinking of work, and you want to make a habit of them. Okay, so let's see, what do we got here? We've got sleep is one of them, yes, you want to have good sleep. What's the minimum amount of sleep you should have each day?
7 to 8 hours.
The doctors will say 6 to 8 hours for sure, closer to 8. So let's say 7 is minimum. 7 good REM hours of sleep. Sounds good?
Yes.
That's all, and anything more than that, you know, you could go to 8. I know for a fact if you're starting to go past 8, that people that oversleep are still tired. Right, so you're better off to sleep 7, 8 hours, jump out of bed, spring out of bed, do your day and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, that's the best thing to do. Sleep is a good way to maybe not think of work. Reading. Any other one you can think of, gang? Somebody said the gym, I think that's next. Any other ones you can think of? Huh?
Meditating?
Maybe meditating or prayer?
I love cooking.
Cooking, yeah. I mean, especially if you're, you know, if that, you know, cooking, I love cooking too. I mean, it just start getting a couple things going, 4 or 5 things going at the same time, and I got to know where everything is. And, you know, somebody comes in the kitchen and you're just like,
Yeah.
it's my space, yeah. I don't have that on there, but I should. Going for a walk sometimes, especially if it's a brisk walk. And any of you do retail therapy? You do? Yeah? Nobody else?
What's that?
Shopping.
Shopping. I don't because I'm not a shopper, I'm a buyer. What's the difference between a shopper and a buyer? A shopper will spend hours. They might buy a little bit, but they'll spend hours. They'll go to West Edmonton Mall or whatever the biggest mall is here, and they'll be there for 4 hours. Right? Me, I already know what I want before I go. And I know exactly where it is. I go in, I get it. I even come up to the person that works there and go, hey, tell me where your such and such is. Okay, thanks. And that's a buyer. I don't shop. But some people use retail therapy as a way to not think of work. And so that's not bad,
It's
okay?
so funny, actually,
Yeah.
I just want to share. Every time we go to mall, Peter never holds my hand, never. When we go to mall, he's holding my hand. We go in from one door, come out from the other door.
Yeah, you don't want to spend years.
So
Exactly.
my wife and I don't really go very often together. So one time she actually asked me to hold her purse. Do you know how guys hold women's purses?
Yeah.
Could you pass me your purse? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So you say, hold my purse, here.
Hold my purse.
You gotta come here to the camera so I can see. So you say, here honey, hold my purse.
Hold my purse.
Alrighty. Roll like football. Or we find a bag. Put it in the bag, and then we'll carry it like that. You will not see a man walk around like this. If you do, well, I won't comment on that. So, hope that if I have certain people watch my videos, I'll be in trouble. Anyways, but no, it's true. I saw that one time. My wife went to give me a purse, and I just went under the arm. It's kind of natural. So let's get on to, in today's day and age of being perfectly correct with all that and offense and all that kind of stuff, that can go so many different ways. So I was just trying to have fun. So okay. Anyways, the next one is an exercise that we will pause the camera in a moment, not yet. And I'm going to give you a couple minutes to try and figure out something. A very short period of time, though. So on the left there, it has some letters. Do not write those down. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to put different letters down there. That's just an example as if what we're trying to do is the first day is going back 24 hours. So where it says M there, what was yesterday?
Tuesday.
Put a T. Do that right now. Okay, put a T. And then what was the day before Tuesday?
Monday.
Put an M on the next one, where that one has an S. Don't worry about the rest. We won't get that far. What we're going to try to do is you're going to try to figure out, just on the first line horizontally, not vertically, but horizontally, you're going to try to figure out exactly what you did with your time going back, from when you woke up this morning to going back 24 hours. Okay? And you're going to be specific for the activities. So an example would be, if I went to business, don't do it yet, please. If you do, you're going to be doing it wrong because I haven't even explained how to totally do it yet. You're going to have to put down the activities and the length of time you spent on that activity. So if you came in the office and you had a buyer, maybe it was 1 hour, you'd put buyer appointment 1 hour. Okay, now don't do it yet because I'm not finished telling you. And so the best way to do it in your mind is go from when you woke up this morning. So the first thing I would do is I'd think, okay, I got up this morning at 6:30 for you folks. I was up earlier because I drove here. But, and you went to bed at 11, so you'd put sleep, and that goes in which category, business or family?
Personal.
Personal. So under personal you put sleep, and you put 7.5 hours. Then go back from there. What did you do before you went to sleep? Like I watched some TV with my wife, so it might be TV for 1.5 or 2 hours, but it's specific. And then before that, like last night, I played drums for 45 minutes, so that's personal. So it'd be drums 45 minutes, dinner with my wife 1 hour. Before that, the gym 2 hours, personal. And then in the office, and then when you say you're in the office, you can't just put in the office 2 hours. You have to put in the office, but instead of in the office, you put prospecting 1 hour or administration 1 hour. And when you have 24 hours, then put up your hand, and I'll come over and check to see if you did it right. But the way you do it, though, again, is to put in the activity and like 1 hour, another activity, 2 hours, another one, 3 hours. Like specific activity. You can't put went to work 8 hours. That's not what I'm talking about. And then when you get your total, put your total here, it might be 6 hours at work, might be 5 hours with family, and in personal, it might be 14 hours. And then over here, if you have 24, put 24 and circle it and call me over. So pause the recording, please.